Hey, I want to say thanks for joining me of these next couple weeks. This is our first video on one of our core values of growing disciples, grow disciples. And the one I entitled today is intentional time. And one of the things that I've found as I walked with God and as I spend time with others is that Jesus Christ and my relationship with Him won't just pop up in my relationships with other people. That it really takes being intentional. It really takes a decision of the will. It really takes a deliberate choice to bring Him up in your conversation. And that's why I think this first one, intentional time, is so important as it relates to discipleship. Jesus modeled this in John chapter 3. He says this, after this, John chapter 3, verse 22, after this, Jesus and His disciples went out into the Judean countryside where He spent some time with them. Jesus intentionally focused time and attention on His students, His apprentices, His followers, to invest His life in them. And intentional time is very important. What I would recommend is that maybe you have someone that you're already discipling, or maybe you're just that you're looking at saying, I really have never been discipled. And I'd encourage you, the first thing you might need to do is go up to someone that you look up to and respect and say, that person's walking with Christ. And you need to go up and ask them a question, an intentional question. Would you disciple me? Would you spend some time with me? Maybe for you've walked with God for a little bit longer time, and you need to go up to someone and ask them this intentional question: hey, can I disciple you? Maybe you've been building a relationship and you say, some of those struggles, I remember when I had those, was going through that, and someone helped me. And so I would encourage you that you might need to go and ask that same question to someone. But Jesus intentionally spent time with people, with His apprentices, with His disciples. And just a couple, everyday basic things I think are important is that you need to pick a place to meet one person with another. And I'm meeting here. I'm shooting this video at Memorial Park, which is a park right in the middle of Brookville. It's a place where people come all the time. There's a little kids park that you can probably maybe even hear a couple kids playing in that park. There's a guy walking his dogs over here. And this is just a place where people do life. And I think it's a very important, discipleship is about doing life together. But not just doing life, but doing life because Jesus is involved in your life and bringing Him up in the conversation. So intentional time means picking a place to meet with someone. It means, I recommend limiting your time. And 1 hour, 60 minutes is more than enough time for you to spend in your conversation with someone. And so I think that's one thing. I think one of the things that you need to do too is pick a study, something that in your hour that you're spending together, something that you're doing together. Let me recommend this one. It's called Beginning the Journey by Ralph Neighbors. And I'd encourage you to use it because it's really just foundational walk with God truths that you never get over, whether you've walked with God for a day or whether you've walked with God for a decade or 30 years or 50 years or 80 years. The things in here are foundation. You never get past them. Another reason why I recommend this resource is because at the back it has some resources for the mentor or the discipler on how to help you disciple the apprentice that you're going to spend time with and invest your life in. Well, you're getting together for an hour a week and studying something together. What else do you do? I think part of that is that you need to talk about the things that are going on in your life. A couple examples might be, what do you do for fun? What do you do to enjoy life? What gets you excited? What causes you frustration? What causes you maybe anxiety? What creates fear? What are those things that you're just dealing with over this last week? And share those things that are going on. It might be something as authentic and real as, there's this guy at work that is just driving me crazy. And honestly, I can't stand him. I can't stand being around him. That needs to be part of your conversation. Maybe you're a parent and one of your kids, your daughter or your son, is really just struggling at school, and you've been taking some steps to help him or her, but they're just not working. and you're just at that place, and that needs to be part of your conversation, things that are going on in your life, and you're getting them out in the conversation, in the relationship, so that you can find what Jesus Christ is doing in the midst of that. What does he say about these things that are going on in your life? What did he say in John 10:10? I have come that you might have life and have it to the fullest. And Jesus is in the midst of these everyday things that sometimes we don't think that God is a part of. And I think that needs to be part of your conversation as you're spending intentional time. The last thing that I would leave you with is that I think your intentional time needs to go far beyond just meeting together once a week for an hour. And I think there needs to be many little interactions. And it can be as simple as a text message and saying, hey, how are you doing today? Hey, I'm praying for you today. Or how did that meeting go? We were praying about that. It's as simple as maybe a text message or maybe a quick phone call, or maybe you post something, you send them an email. But many interactions throughout the week so that you're intentionally living life together. And hopefully, if you put a couple of these things into practice, I think you'll find that growing disciples really do help grow other disciples. Go ahead and try that this week.